a chief exec, 4 presidents, and a director general. That's not bad for one afternoon's work.
Well, firstly, we need to see next year, I think, a goal, which is to put decent work at the centre of the development agenda post-2015, and a serious commitment, because there's got to be accountability. I agree with you. We can make one more declaration in New York or Geneva, and if it's not acted upon, I think we do ourselves damage. We do the credibility of the multilateral system damage. So get a goal around jobs and work together. But we've really got to work together to start putting people back to work, particularly getting young people back to work. Yeah, we know we've got 200 million people out of work around the world. If you're under 25, you're 3 times as likely to be out of work than any other adult. And I think you're making a good point, though. You know, if we think we're going to get jobs from each other by undercutting each other's labour standards, undercutting each other's wages, we're going in a circle that leads us nowhere. We've got to go in a different direction. It's quite interesting. We're in the Ford Foundation today. It was 100 years ago this year that Henry Ford decided to pay his workers $5 a day, because he understood that unless you have people earning money, you don't have customers. So I think we've got to look at the supply side in our labour markets, but also the demand side. I sometimes think the ideologies and the orthodoxies get in the way of those balances. Oldest public-private partnerships in the world are apprenticeships,
yes,
and they work.
Absolutely.
That's the best way to eliminate the mismatch of what companies need and what education provides.
I would add there's another issue that we have not spoken of enough. It's called education. If we do not give our working force more education, they're not going to get better salaries. And I think that this is an investment that you can't do overnight. You have to put forward educational policies once and over again through the ages. Unless you do that, people are not going to learn a second language. People are not going to be able to move in the broadband. People are not going to be able to meet the competitiveness standards that you would require in the private sector.
Madam President, this relationship between private and public is crucial, but it is also one that is fraught with the potential of conflict.
Indeed, but I think the best way to work together is to build an environment of confidence. An environment of confidence and in an environment, as Muhtar was saying, of enabling conditions so the private sector can make decisions and with all the incentives to invest, but on the other hand, the public sector ensures that in the job creation, it's a decent job, as ILO mentions, where workers can also have a union so they can have a leveling play field to negotiate their conditions, etc.
You've got to go back to the fundamentals. If there is no demand in the global economy and you've had a wage share in at least the G20 countries, a drop of something like 10% of wage share over 3 decades, and we're talking 80% of the wealth, then you've got to start to put wages back on the agenda.
We are investing, we have earmarked $34 billion of investment in the next 5 years, and that will create additional jobs. But that is not enough. So with the unemployment rates that we see today, we feel that we know that we will collapse under this social upheaval if we can't do something about youth unemployment. So we go about outside of our company and create programs that are beneficial for our business and beneficial for the communities.